Lately, I haven't been making a lot of videos of coins that I've picked up from my favorite local coin shop. And the reason for that is last year it seemed like every time I would go, I would come away with 50, 60, 70 great coins out of the 25-cent bin. This year, I just haven't been finding them. So I still have been making purchases over there, and I've got some future videos coming up of some really nice things that I've picked up. Today we're going to focus on some odds and ends that I've picked up, and we're going to start with some coins that I picked up that were behind the counter that were not in the 25-cent bin, but I paid a little bit extra for. We're going to start with the coin that came out of a cereal box. And specifically the cereal was, I believe it was called Super Golden Crisp. I don't remember eating this much when I was a child, but I do remember their mascot of Sugar Bear always advertising on Saturday morning cartoons. And they ran a promotion in the about 1989 or 1990 where they would put world coins in a box of cereal. So you get a coin just like this one. And to me, what's more interesting than the entire, than just the coin is the flip that it came in. Because instead of a normal cardboard flip, they gave this oversized flip that had interesting details about the country and about the coin. So they would always have a cartoon of a Sugar Bear over here doing something of the local culture, and then around the window it had import and keep this coin in the permanent coin holder. So this is from India, the Republic of India, so since it was no longer part of Britain. And so we have our mascot here as the snake charmer. This would come from a time where I guess a lot of people in India were known to use an instrument that was made out of a gourd, and they would charm a cobra to come out of a basket, a process that was popular with tourists, but not really popular with animal rights activists. So it's not done to the same extent that it used to be done, but it's still something that I guess some people in India are known for. Then, of course, over here it says that talks about how India has a bunch of different languages. It tells us this is a 10 paisa coin, and we'll look more at the coin a little bit later. On top here we have a map of the shape of the country of India with the capital New Delhi there with the star on it. And then here it talks about their currency, which is the rupee, which 100 paisa would equal 1 rupee. And then it talks about how they have coins in 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 25, and 50. At least that's what they had at the time. And so here is the standard design of the aluminum 10 paisa coin. But the one they used here is actually pretty interesting. This was a 1-year circulating commemorative, so instead of just finding the most boring, cheapest coin out there, this one's actually a pretty good one. This one features the, it's going to be an FAO coin, but also as part of that, around the edge on the left here, left side, it says, Planned Families Food for All. So this comes from a time where part of the United Nations FAO program was not only saying food for all, but in a small number of countries like India, where they're dealing with overpopulation, they were encouraging the people, instead of having a bunch of kids, think about just having a couple of kids so that we don't run out of food quite as fast. This one also has a diamond Bombay mint mark. At least I think that's a diamond. If it's the star, it'd be from Hyderabad, which would be a little bit more valuable, but the diamond is from Bombay. Catalog number on this one is KM28. And so this is my third out of the Golden Crisp collection. It just so happens that my others are right here. I had one from Sri Lanka, where he's riding an elephant. And then the other one I think is from Finland. Yeah. It's funny how I've made videos of these other two and left it here the whole time. That was several months ago that I made those videos. So that was a neat way to start. This one was not, this one, they had a bin of carded coins, and almost none of them were interesting to me except for this one. And even the coin by itself, without the holder, would have a book value of $2. So glad to have found this one so I can add it to my collection of, I don't know how many they made of these in this series. Our next coin was from well, I've heard of Naples, and of course I've heard of Italy, but I figured I probably didn't have a coin from Naples, and it turns out I still don't, but I'll explain more about that in a moment. Let's take a closer look here. It has a value of 2 Tournesy, or 2 Tournesy, or maybe it's pronounced Tournesi. Has a date of 1842 on the bottom. This side is in pretty rough shape, which is why they didn't show it on here. This one's going to be King Ferdinand II. I did end up paying $8 for this. As it turns out, that's probably an overpay because that is the book price for this coin in fine condition, and this is a little bit worse than that. So let's talk about Naples. You're going to find this coin in the Krause catalog under a section of the former Italian states, in the section under Naples. However, Naples at the time went by the name of Kingdom of Sicily. As it turns out, there was another kingdom that also called themselves Kingdom of Sicily, and in 1816, the two countries decided to merge together, and they were officially known as the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies. And then about 1861, they formed what is now the actual Kingdom of Italy. And so this has a value of 2 Tournesy, which would equal 1 grana, and 100 grana would equal a ducato, which is similar to ducat, which would be some of a golden coin that you would find in a lot of European countries around the time. Catalog number in this one is KM 327, and as a personal note, this coin will be the 300th different country that I have a coin from. 300. Now, that's really hard to do if you're limiting yourself to modern countries where there are 200 and not even all of them make coins. But it's easier to do if you pick off a lot of these former Holy Roman Empire countries that were short-lived in different regions around Germany, Italy, Austria, all throughout there, and had these short-lived countries. So this one was certainly a fun pickup to find this one. Let's move to the next coin. I did pay $6 for this one. This is going to be from the Central African states, which is a combination of 5 African countries that were near each other, that were at one time controlled by France, but once they all gained independence, they decided to keep a common currency because they just figured it'd be better that way. This one is a 500 francs coin. We flip it over, and it features an animal called the eland. Catalog number on this one is KM12. In United States foreign exchange money, this is still a valid currency and is worth 89 cents in U.S. money. I paid $6 for this coin, but it books for $9, so I did pretty good on this one. So the coin shop wrote Chad on this coin, but you don't see the name Chad on here anywhere. So they had I guess you would consider it a pilot program, a temporary idea, where they would take each of coins that were intended to circulate in each of the 5 countries and assign a letter onto the coin. And we have that letter to the left of the 1977 right here. We have the letter A. So A meant Chad. Then the others letters, B would be a Central African Republic, C would be Congo, D would be Gabon, and E would be Cameroon. So the purpose is they would take all these coins that were made for Chad and they would circulate them in Chad, but they could spill over the border into other countries, and then those countries would spill into Chad. And the hopes was to kind of track the migratory patterns of the coins, but they realized that they weren't actually learning anything by doing that, so they stopped doing it in 1992. I think there's only a couple of coins where they ever did that. So this is the first one that I've had, anyway. I've known about this program, but it's the first one that I've picked up from here, that where they did that. This coin was still minted in France, and so it has the French cornucopia mark, and then next to it would be the mint master mark of a dolphin on that side. Next up, we have a country that I didn't even know existed. Maybe you did, but I was not familiar with them. So this one had a kind of a hefty price of $20 compared to some of the other things I've purchased here. It's the Italian Kingdom of Napoleon. And so when you get French coins, it's very easy to find coins of Napoleon III, but I don't think I've had a coin of the Napoleon Bonaparte. But here we go. But I of course, am well familiar with Napoleon, but I didn't really know all the story about Napoleon and everything that he was able to accomplish militarily and whatnot. So this coin's dated 1812. It's listed Napoleon Imperator Rex, and so he's kind of listing himself as the emperor and king. So this is an area of what is today known as Italy, which France took over in starting in 1805. And so Napoleon was considered the ruler of this this kingdom, and he had the kingdom named after himself. However, at least that's how it's recorded. This is another country that actually called themselves the Kingdom of Italy, just like the Kingdom of Italy we talked about following the all of the smaller Italian states getting together in 1861. So officially they called themselves Kingdom of Italy, but a lot of people refer to them as the Kingdom of Napoleon. We flip it over, and here's where they actually have the name Kingdom of Napoleon, Kingdom of Italy. So regno is their word for kingdom. The value on this coin is 5 centesimi, and the M mint mark stands for Milan. Eventually, some of these coins were also minted in Lombardy. I have that wrong. Bologna and Venice. So the crown that's on this side is the Iron Crown of Lombardy. And so when he decided to name himself the ruler on here, to try and make it legitimate and official in the eyes of the citizens, he took the historic crown of Lombardy, which the people there were familiar with, and kind of used it in the ceremony of where he made himself the ruler. And so he decided to put this crown on the coin as well. But when Napoleon, when his rule was coming to an end, the fall of Napoleon in 1814, this was no longer a country. So this coin was made just a couple of years before that happened. When Napoleon was no longer ruling this area, it was taken over by the Austrians, who ruled this same area as the Kingdom of Lombardy Venetia. So Venetia is where you'd find Venice. This one is catalog number C number 2.2. And so the $20 that they wrote on here would be what the catalog says is the extra fine price. And So again, I probably overpaid for this one. Apparently this one would be worth less than $10. But if that previous coin was my 300th unique country, this one is number 301. And then the coins they had at that time, 5 of those centesimi would equal 1 soldi, and 100 centesimes would equal 1 lira. Next we have a coin where if you were bad at math, you would hate this coin. We have a coin from Jersey. During the time of Queen Victoria, it's dated 1858. Quite a hefty coin. And then we flip it over. States of Jersey, 1/13 of a shilling. Now, normal British money, pre-decimal system, you would have 1 pence, 3 pence, 6 pence, and then 12 pence would be 1 shilling. So everywhere else, 1/12 of a shilling would have equaled a penny, and this was the size of the penny that they had about at going at that time. However, the Jersey was taken over. The Brits who took over Jersey and made it one of their crown dependencies took over a place that had been using French money, specifically the sou, where the French sou had was split into 26 portions, and so 1 sou would be valued at essentially a half a penny, and then 2 sous would become 1 penny. But that made double 1/26, and you get 1/13, and that's what we have here. So no other, to my knowledge, no other British-controlled area did it this way. They didn't want to call it 1 penny either, but they're trying to use a monetary system that the people were familiar with. However, that caused confusion because this area was circulating these. They could circulate French coins. They could circulate British coins, which were labeled as 12 pence would equal 1 shilling. So by 1877, they decided to scrap these 1/13ths and replace it with 1/12, just like all the other British-controlled areas. So there were 173,000 of these minted. And this is a coin I'd been eyeing for a long time, and I'm glad to have gotten it. But again, he charged the very fine price. I don't know if I would call this very fine. I would have called it fine, I suppose. Catalog KM3. However, this does seem to be a coin that Numista thinks is worth a lot more than what the catalog says on here. So certainly happy to have it, and just the unusual nature of it. One more carded coin we're going to look at, but we have some other things that we're going to take a look at. So we're going to start with a coin that features Martin Coles Harmon. Martin Coles Harmon was a rich guy in Britain who had enough money to purchase an island there in the British Isles. And it was a country that was actually had a small number of inhabitants, and the Brits stopped their postal service to that island after he bought it, but he still had some mail to deliver, so he was paying for mail delivery out of his own pocket. And then he said, you know what, I should make my own stamps. And so the people started using his own stamps. And then he said, well, if I can make stamps, I can make coins. And he made the puffin and the half puffin. The puffin is a bird which is probably the most common inhabitant of this particular island. And I'll note here that the 1 puffin coin would show the entire bird of the puffin, but the half puffin showed the upper half of the puffin. The name of this island was called Lundy. And then he had purchased the island in 1925, and then made these coins 4 years later in 1929. And he contacted the Heaton Mint, the one that makes official coinage for a lot of other countries, and they said, you sure you want to do that? It's not legal to make your own coins in Britain anymore. And he said, I think I can get away with it. So he made 50,000 coins to circulate on his island, and but eventually he was sued because there was a law saying you can't make coinage in Britain. That law had been around for about 50 or 60 years, and the punishment at the time, he did go to court. The punishment for doing this, he was found guilty, and he had to pay a fine of £5, which in today's money would be about £1,500. So that's what he gets for doing that. I did pay $25 for this coin. The catalog says that that is what it costs at uncirculated condition. eBay certainly shows that this coin is selling for more than that. And Numista says that it is books for $34. This is going to be coin number 302. It's quasi, does it count as a country or not? But if the Krause catalog recognizes it, then I'm going to say yes to this. Now, speaking of the Krause catalog, the catalog that I always personally used and have used for decades is the 2018 catalog, where this is listed as KMTN1. The TN means token, so they admit that it's not a legitimate country, and it is a token. But it does not appear in that catalog anymore. The last Krause catalog it's going to appear in is one that I haven't talked about that much. It's the Krause catalog of unusual world coins. And so that catalog features, among other things, micronations, or places like this where someone says he has a country, but it's not officially recognized by a lot of places. And so we'll call this, they still call it Token 1 and say it's $25. So there is some words on the edge on here, which unfortunately we can't see since it's already on the flip, but the words say Lundy, Lights, and Leads, and that has to do with the way that there were 3 notable lighthouses on this island. So that's all of that we're going to look through today, but that's not the last coin we're going to go through, because I also picked up, let me zoom out on here, The Wonderful World of Coin Collecting. And I've bought one of these before. I made a dedicated video just for this topic, but this is a different mix of coins than the last one that I had. The quick version of this is you would pay about $20 and you would get this cardboard album and a loose bag of 50 uncirculated coins from 50 different countries, and then you would have fun looking at the coins and then putting it in this holder. So all the coins in this book were originally made in, pretty much taken straight from the mint, but they went out and they got whatever they could, the cheapest, from about 50 different countries. And so it's kind of a weird mix on here. Everything in this album is at least 30 years old. And so I'm showing it here in case you want to see whether or not you think something like this is worth it. Because if nothing else, I found that several coins in here, since they are brilliant and circulated, and they're going to upgrade my collection. I've never found it as cheap as $5 before, because this one has some water damage to it. But let's go ahead and open it up and take a look at the inside here. Most of these coins are okay. A small number of these coins have some obvious residue on it. Some have have a little bit of discoloration to it, but nothing too bad. And so one thing interesting here is that whoever had this at one point taped a South African 1-cent coin on here, and that's going to have its own tape residue damage. So let me go ahead and rescue the coin, and you can see how it made this tape turn green. But as I look at the coin, it's not in great shape, but I wonder if someone bought this and then realized, hey, I happen to have a South African coin. This is not the side that had the tape on it. This one did. So I don't see any residue on this side, so at least I think that coin survived. And so we're going to go through these coins rapid fire. There's actually some in here that I'd never had before. And I'll also note that They're hard to get out of here. So most of these I've not pulled out of here, but I was able to research just by what I can see on one side. I'm going to start with the coin from Mexico. The 1 peso from 1984 might be the least interesting coin in the whole book. Guatemala is the 1 centavo, and so I do have a few of those. Mauritius, we don't find these very often, and as it turns out, I don't have the 1 cent from 1987. So this one is the first one that's a good pickup. Since these were all low value, low denomination coins, even in brilliant uncirculated condition, a lot of them aren't going to have a lot of value. That one books for 40 cents. This one is from Sudan. This one is a 5 millim KM53, and half the coins in here are going to be upgrades to my collection. We've got the 1 penny from Finland after they made it out of aluminum. We have this United Arab Emirates 1 fils coin. This might be the least common coin that I find from UAE. And I bought it just a few months ago, and here we go, I get it again in this book. From Paraguay, we have the 1 guarani. This one is an FAO coin, and KM 165. From Indonesia, this one is like that first coin that we had from India. This one is a coin championing family planning to try and reduce overpopulation and requesting that families have fewer children. For the sake of not running out of food. This is a 5 rupiah coin made from 1979 to 86 and was a reduced size of an earlier aluminum coin. Here is the 1 escudo from Portugal. And then from Venezuela, we've got the 25 centimos. Here's another common French coin. And then from the bailiwick of Jersey, we have... This is the Watchtower. This coin's dated 1987. A small number of these that I did pull out, which is really hard to do, and then I put it back in. Here's a very common coin from Austria. Here's one that I actually took it out and turned it around to see the other side, because we don't see this one too often. Might be only the second or third time I've ever gotten this coin from Bangladesh. It's another FAO coin, and so it features farming equipment. It looks like the number 98 at the very top, but that is how they write 74. So this coin was made in 1974. We've got another coin from South Africa. This one is a later 1 cent coin. That was... I didn't write the date on that one. I guess I didn't take that one out. From Uruguay, this was the about the end of the new peso system that they had. So that's a small coin to be a 5 new peso. This one is from Hungary. This one turned out to be kind of interesting because catalog KM 549 in the date of 1982, most of the time you're going to find these from the early 70s and older, because starting closer to this time, they're only made in low mintage numbers, maybe even only for mint sets. So how'd they even get a bunch of these? There's only 30,000 of these in existence, and it books for $2, so I'm happy for that one. Isle of Man, here is a second coin that I've turned around because while I like portraits of Queen Elizabeth, I think this side showing a precision lathe is much more interesting. I can't say that I've seen a lathe on any other coin before. This one's catalog KM 207 from Czechoslovakia from 1986. This one is the 5 Herrera. Then from Bermuda, their 1 cent coin features a wild boar. Then from India, this one is from 1972. I looked at it, it's a 1 paisa, but I think this one has a mint error. It has what appears to me to be a cud error right here. So if you look next to the letter D, there is a raised spot on here. So a cud is where the actual mint, the mint dies get a have a piece of it fall out of it, so that extra metal gets minted onto the coin. So I think that's what's going on with that one. We've got Guernsey here featuring a crab on the 1 cent coin. This is the second coin that I did not have. From, let's see, KM40. This coin books for $1. Then from Pakistan, we've got this 5 paisa. From Norway, this one has some really good luster on it, and does have a tiny little spot on it, but I never thought that I would be upgrading this coin ever, but I might have to on here. This specific year of 1980, they switched mint masters, and in Norway they have a tradition that when the new mint master takes over, they use the previous mint master privy mark. The previous mint master had the initials of AB, but when the new mint master takes over, they keep the same privy mark but add a star to it. So there's 2 different versions of the 1980 coin. Then from Honduras, we have this coin from 1988. This one is a 1 centavo. KM77B, this is another 1-year coin, and I'm getting in as close as I can. There's things inside of things on here. So in the middle of the coin, you'll see an oval. In the middle of the oval, you'll have a pyramid, and then to the sides of that pyramid, but inside the oval, you'll see clouds. That only appeared that way on this coin in 1988, so that makes it a 1-year coin. Let's flip over to the side B on here. By the way, I'm not going to keep these in this album, but I did want to as we show it off. This is from Iceland. It's a 1 krona. It was made from 1976 to 1980. Then from Gibraltar, from 1991, we have this 1 cent coin featuring the Barbary partridge. Brazil has the 1 centavo coin. This was only made from 89 to 90. Then in Israel, we have the 1 new agora, which was made from 1980 to 82 out of aluminum. From Guyana, all of their coins, a lot of their low-value coins look just like this, of the 3 concentric circles of, I think, a lotus flower. This is the 1 cent based on the size. From New Zealand, as it turns out, I didn't have this coin because the newest portrait of the Queen was added to this coin in 1986 and 1987. And then after that year, they discontinued the 1 cent coin. And so since it was only made for a couple of years, I didn't have that one. Here's the Nicaraguan coin that I find fairly often. It's the FAO 5 centavos that has a slogan to produce more food written underneath the triangle. Belgium, this was the 50 centimes coin that they made for almost 50 years. Jamaica, we have an aluminum 1 cent coin. That's another FAO coin that I've found pretty often. Here's a very common half new penny, which was discontinued in the 80s. We have another FAO coin from Haiti. And what makes this one different than most Haitian coins is the second layer, thinner line of words that go around through here. I happened to made a video about this coin just a couple of weeks ago. Then from Peru, this comes from the brand new, the current coin system, which started in 1991. And I didn't realize that I'd never picked up the 1 centavo before, but that's what we have here. It was first made in 1991 and only lasted for, didn't even make it out of the 90s. Let's go to Slovenia, where we have this 20 coin. If you were to flip this one over, it would have a very tiny owl on the other side. Cayman Island, I get this coin pretty often. From Russia, this one was actually pretty corroded on the other side. It was made in 1991, the last year that Soviet Union made coins. Let's come up here to Chile, where it is an 8-sided coin, and from here it looks like a stop sign or an octagon. They actually should have made it where the top, instead of being flat, would have a corner. So this is actually the side up on this coin. And I think this one is a 1 peso coin there. This one was the coin that I was the most excited about. It's from Bhutan, dated 1979. This one is a 10 chirtum, catalog KM46. And the name of this coin got me awfully confused because they have chirtums, but they also have chetrums. And I have trouble telling which is which because you don't find coins from Bhutan hardly at all. From Turkey, we have this 10 lira from 1988. Bahamas, we have the ugliest coin probably in the whole thing, but I've got a bunch of these starfish coins, so if there's one ruined, it might as well be that one. I hope it didn't ruin this next coin. This one is from Poland. It's from 1949. So this was made soon after the end of World War II, but when Poland became the People's Republic of Poland, they did not continue with a 1 groszy anymore. So I don't know if it continued to circulate after that, but they made 400 million of these, and then there wasn't a use for them just a few years later. And so even though this was 50 years old at the time they made this set, at least 50 years old, they must have gotten a good deal on them. But based on the age, this coin has a catalog value of $2.50. Then we move to Estonia, which has the 3 lion design on it. Fiji, coin from 1992. And then San Marino, I like this one. But it's the coin that I find the most often from San Marino. It's aluminum. On the other side has a B. I believe it's the only coin made in San Marino that was anywhere near 1 million produced. So there were well over 1 million of these. And then we've got Egypt. This is their 1 millim coin from 1972. It was the last year this was made, so it's discontinued. Again, that's probably why they got so many of them. And then South Korea, this is the 1 coin. And this design was used from 1968 to 1982. So the newest thing in this whole album was the mid-90s. So I don't know if this set was produced in the mid to late 90s or when it was made. This one's quite grimy, but you can easily find this entire set or a set like this on eBay for $20. But I don't think it's worth $20, but it was worth $5 to me. So that was fun to find. So even though I didn't find a lot of coins in the foreign coin bin, it doesn't mean I didn't find anything. On this particular day, my least favorite employee was there who never gives me discounts and wants the full price on these even though I spend $100 there. So I could only find 8 coins that I thought was worth paying 50 cents for. And anytime you can get a 2 euro coin for 50 cents, I think it's worth it. And this one's from France, so it's one of the more common countries, but it features their what they call the Tree of Life, Continuity, and Growth. This one also has a privy mark that I don't think I'd noticed before. It looks like the letter C, but if you zoom in, it's going to be a horseshoe. If you see this design, it's going to be a coin from Algeria. So you've got the crescent moon and star with 2 flags of crescent moon and star. And then the hand that looks like it has 2 thumbs, I believe that's called the hand of Fatima. This is going to be a coin from Algeria. This one is from 1964. It is a 50 centimes KM99. And I didn't have this one, so it wasn't worth 50 cents, but I was happy to have it. Then we have this coin from Egypt. This one is going to be 1/2 of a millim. And it's got a date of Arabic 1342, our calendar 1924. And then above the dash between the dates is the H for heat and mint mark on this coin. You can see it's in, this side looks like it's in really good shape. We flip it over. And I want your opinion. Is this coin cleaned? Because it's got some unnatural toning to it. And usually if you only see it darker around the edges like that, it makes me think that it's clean, but I don't really see scratches on here. because this one actually has a pretty good value if it is not cleaned. So it features King Ahmed Fuad I. So when Egypt was ruled by Britain, he was considered the Sultan who was over the country. But when they got their independence in 1922, then he was named the king. So there are some later versions of coins with King Fuad where he is facing the left. This is not like other countries where they alternate facing one direction to the other. They purely did it for artistic reasons. This one's KM 330. It's the second coin that of these loose ones I didn't have. If this one is not cleaned, the book value on this coin is $25. So I'm not going to say that because there's a good chance it was cleaned. I'm going to write down $7 for a value on this one. It's hard for me to remember which coins from Morocco I have because they all look about the same around this time. This one is the 50 centimes. There are two versions of this coin. If you found one that had a lightning bolt in this space right here, it was made at the French Poissy Mint in 1924. But if it does not have the lightning bolt, it was made in Paris in 1921. This coin is catalog Y35.1 in the Cherfian Empire. This was made during the rule of, while it was still a French protectorate, during the time of Sultan Yusuf. Books for $1. One more from Morocco. This one has a date of 1366 on their calendar, which is 1946. This one's going to be a 10 francs. This was the first year that this coin was not made out of silver. This coin is made out of copper nickel and comes during the time of Sultan Muhammad V. Catalog number in this one is Y44. Going to move to another French-controlled area. Here we have the look of a coin that was controlled by the French in 1949. This design is called the Seated Liberty design, where she's holding a cornucopia and a torch. This one is going to come from Nouvelle, or New Caledonia. This one is a 50 centimes coin. They only made this coin for 1 year, but it's the first coin in the catalog, so it's KM1. They stopped making it, so I'm thinking that it was demonetized after only 1 year, where they still make 1 and 2 and 5 and so on francs. This side features the Kagu bird. And so this coin in this condition books for $7.50. Glad to find it. We're going to Sweden, where we have a coin with the monogram of Oscar II. There are two versions of this coin, and it has to do with the spacing of the words that go across the top. This one is KM 735. This coin was made from 1974 to 1978 with that spacing, and then it lasted for about 3 decades with the wider spacing. But this one is the 2-or. Books for $1.25. And then the last coin from this particular day we have from Spain. In the 1990s, Spain made pretty much all of their circulating coins turn into 1-year commemorative coins. But I think for every 20 5 peseta or 25 pesetas, for every 20 of those that I find, I'll find one of these 50 pesetas. So they're a lot harder to come by. But this one features a portrait of Juan de Herrera. He was an architect in Spain. This is 1997 was the 400th anniversary of his death. And so one of the things he was best known for constructing or designing is this building here. It's the Royal Monastery of San Lorenzo de el Escorial. This coin is KM 985 and it books for $1.25. So I was upset that I had to pay 50 cents each for those coins, but those 8 coins have a book value of $20, so I guess I really can't complain. But the next time I went, I was looking through the bin again, and I thought, there's not really a whole lot here that I want to pay 50 cents for. So I only picked out these 5 coins. And then it turned out that my favorite employee showed up, and since I spent over $100 that day, he just gave me these for free, which was nice of him. So these are going to be the last coins of this video. We're going to start with this coin from Jordan, the Royal Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, featuring King Abdullah II. This one is a 5 piastres, dated 2008 on our calendar, 1429 on the Arabic calendar, and KM 73. Then from Croatia, we've got the 50 lipa. This coin from 1995 features a flower called the Velebit Diginia, and then their spelling or name of it is there written in the Croatian language around the edge here. They make 2 versions of most of their circulating coins, and in even years they're given the Latin binomial nomenclature name of the plant, but it's written in the Croatian language on the odd years. And the odd year coins are much easier to find. This one is KM 8. We've got a coin from Nepal. This comes from the reign of Shah Burinder Bikram. If you look at the bottom there, it has a date of 2033. This coin is not from the future. They just have a calendar that is a little bit off from ours. This was actually made on our calendar in 1976. This one is a 25 paisa. And I believe this side is up, but the dagger faces down. Catalog number in this one is KM 815. When Jamaica was controlled by the British, they used the same currency system where you'd have 4 farthings make a penny. So that was the case here in 1932 when George V was king and Emperor of India. This side it says farthing. They were making the farthing out of copper nickel at the time. Catalog KM 39. And the catalog notes that in the middle of the shield, those lines that run through it run vertically, because about 20 years prior to this, they ran horizontally on this coin. This one's KM 39. KM 24. KM 39 is going to be this last one, which is of Queen Elizabeth. And a lot of these pre-decimal coins from Japan, since they're made out of brass, they always stain so bad. So this one might be the least stained version of one of these pre-decimal coins that I've ever found. I mean, there are some spots on here, but not nearly as bad as I usually find it. It's in decent condition. This one is the 1 full penny, dated 1964. And this coin in this condition books for $1. That was a lot to go through, but I did want to show it off, and none of this felt like it was big enough to make its own video. But especially these coins that we started off with, and only 8 and then 5 coins from the foreign bin that we saw on here. But thanks for watching this video and sticking out with me this long into the video. And I will catch you in the next one. Until then, bye.